Good day and welcome back to our DC-6s tour of Germany. We are up in Cologne and today we're heading south towards the Alps down towards Friedrichs. I was practicing this earlier. Friedrichshafen, that's it. Hello Scott, how are you today? Hope weather is good for you down south. So let's get on board. We'll start everybody loading up and we'll brief the flight as they get on board. "49 passengers on board the aircraft today, and a fair load of cargo as well, so it shouldn't be too bad. There we go. People are getting on board. Oh, let's take a look at the route we'll be taking today. Just bring up Navigraph. Alright, so we're here at the Cologne area airport. We're parked on the ramp up in this area up here at the north end. It's a short taxi over to 14 left. That's the runway we'll be using today. And we're then going to take off and basically fly out towards the first VOR, which is the Cologne VOR, and then we're going to head south, passing on the west side of Frankfurt and the big industrial commercial area here. And I'm going to proceed down by Heidelberg, very beautiful area of Germany here. Down to Stuttgart and the LBU VOR, the Luberg VOR. Where they're going to head straight south towards. This is the Rhine. I'm sure this is a lake, but we're going to head south towards the lake here. We're then going to be coming in, making a right-hand turn, and we're going to be doing the ILS for runway 06 here at Friedrichshafen and landing there. Once we're on to the airport, probably going to taxi down to the end here. We'll get off at Charlie or Bravo, and we're going to be parking up here at Apron 2. So that is the plan for the flight today, and should be fairly uneventful. The weather is says it's VFR, but we've got a lot of low cloud and stuff in the area, so we'll have to see. What we can do now is we'll come over here and we will do the fueling. Let me bring up Sim Brief. Okay, so fuel for today's flight is going to be 6,422 pounds. So 6,426, good enough. We are carrying 49 passengers today. And we have 4,370 pounds of cargo. No, I don't want that much. There we go. 4,370 pounds of cargo. 49 passengers. Our weight is 81,119, which of course will put us into the dry takeoff category, but we're going to be just over the 80,000 pounds, which means we're going to have a V1 speed of 83 knots as we're between sea level and 2,000 feet. And we're going to rotate at
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I would love
knots.
to welcome you aboard our flight. When you find your seat, please be sure to place your larger carry-on items in the overhead bins and smaller items underneath the seat in front of you.
So that
Unless
is
you're in
the
the
plan
front row,
for today.
please place all of
So
your
we have our
items in
fuel
the
on
open
board.
If you have any
Passengers
trouble
are on
finding a
board.
location for your carry-on items, please let
Everybody
flight
else is
attendants know,
loading
and
in.
we'd be happy to assist you.
Up at the north end, Scott.
Items in the overhead bin and it is full, make sure you close
We
it
are
to other passengers. Also be sure that
on the
aisle
ramp
is
up at
clear
the
and
north
sit
end.
down so that way other passengers can get
If I
by
pull
you.
up the
If you're
chart
seated
again.
in an emergency exit row, please review the exit seating responsibilities in the safety card provided for you. Please make sure that you are able
We're
and
up
willing
here.
to perform these actions. If you're not, please let a flight attendant know so that way you can be reseated. Feel free to use your cell phones during the rest of the boarding process, but we do ask that laptops, tablets, and any other larger electronic devices are stowed once we depart from the gate. Thank you, and welcome aboard.
So everybody is loading in. Hi, Dark Fury. Good evening. How are you? As you can see, the weather is fairly overcast. I'll grab the forecast, the current, here at Cologne. Just got updated. So winds are 130 at 8 knots. We're going to be using runway 14, so it's almost straight down the pipe. It says ceiling and visibility okay. That's not what live weather is giving me in the sim. It's 10 degrees out. QNH 1022. Just finished your free upgrade to Windows 11. I thought you were already running Windows 11. I thought you've been running that for a while. I'm doing good though. So 1011, we will dial that in. Oh, sorry, 1022. I was wondering why it was going below. So there's about 250 feet. If we look at the elevation for the airport, it says 302. So that's pretty close. We'll go over and do Roger's side as well. There we go, 1022 is set on that side. All right. Definitely got the runway lights on today. So it looks like they're getting everything loaded up. Pretty quiet up here at the north end of the airport at the moment. What we will do is we'll come back over here. We'll remove the wheel chocks. Cargo is now fully loaded. Cargo door can close. We're just waiting for everybody to get on board, and then we'll start up our checks. Flight time is just over an hour. We're heading south, basically down to the Alps for this one, so hopefully the weather clears and we get a nice view. In-game time is just after 10 o'clock. It's a nice late morning flight today. Oh, sounds like everybody's on board.
We are ready to go when you are.
Alrighty. So secure the back exit. We'll get the stairs going up here. We've signed for everything. I'm pulling the stairs away. Get Roger seated. There we go. Fred can close the door. And then he can take his seat. So doors are now closed.
Our flight time
And
will
we
be
can do the
roughly
before start
1
checklist.
hour and 10 minutes. Please note the cabin door is now closed. We ask that you make sure that all devices are in airplane mode and your larger devices
So
are now
few
shut down and stowed. If you have
VORs to
not
follow
already,
today.
please fasten your seatbelt and verify
There was
it
one
is
issue
low
when I
and
was
tight across
using
your lap. The tray tables and seatbacks
Skyvector to
must
get
be
the
in a full
information. It
upright
kept
and
putting in
locked
a
position to
NDB
depart.
instead of a
Cabin
VOR.
crew,
They're on
your
top
doors
of
for
each other.
departure.
But we're going to use both, just as a reference.
Oil coolers and cow flaps.
The LBU VOR, and we're going to also use the LBU NDB.
Checked. Pressurization.
So we'll wait until they get the radios up
Set.
and going. We're going to set the cabin pressurization. We do have a flight level of 130
Checked.
today. So we'll set the
Radios.
pressurization. Radios are coming up.
Checked. Doors and hatches.
Alright, 130 is set. So the first frequency we're going to want on takeoff is the Cologne VOR, which is 108.8.
closed.
108.8. Flick that over.
Out.
Second one is going to be the
Pins.
TAU VOR at 113.35.
Seat belts and pedals.
Adjusted.
Throttles.
113.35. That is set. The NDB we're going to
Set
watch
to
is
idle.
401.
Propellers.
And we'll put that on ADF 1.
Forward and 3.
And we'll go to 401.
Before start checks complete.
Start engines.
Alright, so the engines are ready to start. Let's finish getting all our radio stuff dialed in. 104.1, we'll put that over in the active side. And the ILS frequency, we'll put in nav 2. It's 111.9. So 111.9, we'll put that over on the active. So we know when we get within range, that'll kick over. And we'll be good there. There's also the Friedrichshafen VOR, which we will turn in later. Hello, Talia. How are you doing today? And so that is now set on the active side there. So the initial ballpark frequency on the first VOR is going to be 98 degrees. So we'll just make sure that is dialed in here. That will be somewhere in about there. And it is rather dark and gloomy, so we're going to turn on the interior lights in the cockpit. So they made the call out. Let's get the windows open for engine start. Do both sides, even though it is a little bit cool out. There we go. So mixture is set to auto rich. Magnetos are on both. Fuel select or engine selector is on engine number 3. Main fuel pump booster is low. And we are good to start engine 3. Can you hear it cranking?
3, 6, 9, 12.
Boost and prime. Good start engine number 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the screen for an
So we're waiting for it to click over. There she goes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We'll come
welcome
up
on board this
engine
Royal
4.
Canadian Air Force Douglas DC-6 aircraft. On behalf of the crew, I ask that you please direct your attention
The
to the cabin
magnetos to
attendants as
both,
we review
engine
the emergency
selector to number
procedures.
4,
There are 9 emergency
main
exits
pump
on this
to low,
aircraft, 5 on the left,
cranking
and 4 on
4.
the right. Take a minute to locate the exit closest to you. Note that the nearest exit may be behind you. Count the number of rows to this exit. Should the cabin experience sudden pressure
Meg
loss,
and prime
stay calm and
for
listen for
engine
instructions
4.
from the cabin crew. Oxygen masks will drop down from above your seat. Place the mask over your mouth and nose.
Good start engine
like
4.
This. Pull the strap
We
to
got
tighten
pressures
it.
and
In
temperatures.
the unlikely event of an emergency landing and evacuation, leave
RPM
your
coming up,
carry-on items
manifold
behind.
pressure coming up.
In the event of a water landing, life vests are located below your seats and emergency
Start
lighting
switch
will lead to your
has
closest
come
exit
off,
and
so
slide.
engine 2.
We ask that you make sure that all carry-on luggage is stowed away safely during the flight. Smoking
Mags
is
to
only
both.
permitted when the no
Selector
smoking
to
sign
1.
is out. While we wait for takeoff, please
Fuel
take
pump
a moment
boost
to
low.
review the safety
Cranking
data card
engine
in the
number
seat
2.
pocket in front of you.
3, 6,
Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue à bord de cet avion Douglas DC-6 de l'aviation royale canadienne. Au nom de l'équipage, je vous demande de porter votre attention sur les agents de bord pendant que
We
nous
have a start
examinons
on
les
engine
procédures
number 2.
d'urgence. Il y a 9 sorties de secours sur
Once
cet
again,
avion,
waiting for that start
5 à
switch
gauche
to
et
kick
4
off.
à droite. Prenez une minute pour localiser la
Start
sortie la
switch
plus
is
proche
kicked
de
off.
chez vous.
Good start engine number
Notez
2.
que la sortie la plus proche peut être derrière vous.
Engine number 1.
Comptez le nombre de lignes jusqu'à cette sortie.
Mixture to auto
Si la
rich.
cabine subit une
Magnetos
perte
to
de
both.
pression
Selector to 1.
soudaine,
Fuel
restez
pumps
calme
to
et
low.
écoutez les instructions du personnel de cabine.
Cranking
Les
engine
masques
number
à
1.
oxygène tomberont du dessus de comme ceci. Tirez sur la sangle pour la serrer.
12,
Dans le cas peu probable de
Boost and prime. Good start engine number 1.
sauvetage, des gilets de sauvetage sont situés sous vos sièges et un éclairage de secours vous mènera à votre sortie et toboggan les
As we
plus
come down,
proches.
we got manifold pressure
Nous vous
RPMs
demandons
coming
de
up.
vous assurer que tous les bagages à main sont
Sort of
rangés
switch
en
has gone
toute
off.
sécurité pendant
We
le
have fuel
vol.
pressure on all 4 engines. Oil
Fumer n'est
pressure on all 4
autorisée que
engines.
lorsque le
Temperatures
panneau
coming up.
d'interdiction de fumée est éteint.
Fire
Pendant
bear
que
is
nous attendons
good.
le décollage,
Engines
veuillez
back
prendre un
to
moment
idle.
pour examiner la carte de données de sécurité dans la poche
Let
du
them
siège
warm up
devant
now.
vous. Thank you and enjoy your flight.
Everything is looking good. Alright. So that is the engine start. Everything is looking good at the moment. So after start checklist.
Start selected, boost pumps.
Off and off.
Battery switch.
Plane battery.
Generators and inverters.
Checked and on.
Emergency lights.
Armed.
Ground power.
Removed.
Alright, so we'll close
After start checks complete.
Roger's door here. Or window. After start checks are complete. So what we're going to do is we're just going to taxi hard around. This is where we're headed, and then there's the end of the runway. We're headed to right there. So before we go out, or as we go out, we'll do the before takeoff checklist,
Boost pumps.
and we will get ourselves ready to go. So brakes are off.
Fuel selector and crossfeed. Main tanks and crossfeed off. Autopilot and carb heat.
Come up on the power.
Off and cold. Hydraulic system. Down, forward, pressure and quantity checked. Okay.
Oh, Scott, that's annoying. Never seen that one before.
Flaps set to 20.
We're
Windows
hard
31.
over on the rudder.
Closed and on.
There we go.
Controls. Gas lock released. 3. Potato. On. Mixture and cowl flaps. Range unlocked. Set. Transponder.
So they're almost done the takeoff checks. We'll just keep taxiing out. We're not going too far. Landing lights are down.
Before takeoff checks complete.
Good way to check once the lights are down. Even if you're not inside the cockpit, you don't hear them say it. It's when you know everything's good. Say goodbye to Cologne. There's the end of the runway coming up. Giving the engines a good little bit of warm-up time. A little bit more power. I think we're going uphill. Alright. Gonna make the turn to the left, and then we'll stop at the hold short line. Actually, if there's nobody inbound, we're just going to roll in since the checks are done. Let's close the window here. See how we are for any inbound traffic. We look good. We're just going to take position. See, the wind's almost straight down the runway. It's interesting, it got the wind right, but the altitude a little bit wrong. Hopefully the next update, which is tomorrow, will fix some of these issues. It's supposed to be a big bug fix one. I don't know whether was part of the list they had. All right. There we go. Come to a stop. And brakes are set. So everything is looking good. Cabin is notified. Temperatures and pressures are all in the green. Dry takeoff, please.
30 inches stabilize.
30 inches stabilize.
I hope not, Talia. I hope not. God, looks like you got in.
Cowl flaps set.
Cowl flaps are set.
Please.
Going full power.
Throttle's coming up. Standard takeoff procedure. Once we're above about 1,300 feet, we're going to make a slight turn to the left just to line up for the VOR. 53 inches.
Full power set.
Full power set. Brakes coming off. Brakes released. Airspeed's live. We're looking at a rotation speed of 101 knots. 80 knots. 100 knots, rotate. Pitch for 120 knots until the gear's
Positive
up.
Gear up.
Gear selected up.
Here goes the airport. Nose
Gear
down.
up, lights out.
17 miles out from the VOR. We can see it on the needle. Start easing the nose. Down, build up some speed.
Flaps up.
Flaps going up.
Speed coming up.
Veto power.
Setting meter power 48 inches, 2600 RPM.
Meter power being set. There's 1,300, 1,000 feet above the ground. We'll make the turn towards the VOR.
Meter power set.
Climb power.
Setting climb power.
There we go. 15 miles to go. We'll bring her level. Give her a little bit of nose down since we're going into climb power. Auto gyro on. Auto gyro is engaged.
Climb power set.
Climb power is set.
Takeoff checklist,
We'll watch for about 165 climb speed. Checklist is going ahead.
After takeoff checks complete.
There we go. So what we'll do is we'll just dial in on the OBS and go to localizer mode. And we'll let her follow in the localizer. We climb out. So we're a little bit fast, so we'll come back a couple notches. Start bringing that speed down. Want that 165 roughly. nice. Heading for the cloud layer. Gonna get a few more notches there. Alright, outside air temperature is no, it's that one. We're at 10 degrees. And we're heading for the clouds, so we'll start the windshield warming up. So we're 170 knots. Come back a little bit more. Keep that climb rate going. Anti-ice will come on as we hit the cloud layer. How's it going, Scott? Did you get her fired up? I think you're still on the ground. Hopefully we'll see you up in the air soon. So everything's working, we just got to get you into the air. Alright, we'll jump back inside. We're down to 160, so we're going to notch forward slightly. – 6,000 feet. And again, flight level is 130. So we have 8,000 feet to go. 5 miles out from the VOR, so we're going to go into gyro pilot mode. We'll come up to the radios. We'll put in the next one, and that is the 112.1. That's the RID VOR. So 112.1 is now in standby. The heading we're going to want off of the Cologne VOR is going to be 141 degrees. Come back over here, and we're going to dial this around to 141. It's going to be about there. We're 40 miles away. We're pretty close on it, so we'll hit localizer mode. And we'll take us in. We're still at 160, so we'll notch down a little bit more on the climb rate. We have to keep doing that as we get higher and the air thins out. Keep the speed up. We got to shallow our climb. And the outside air temperature is about 4 degrees now. It's coming down. 8,000 feet. Pressurization is holding steady. It'll start about 9,000 feet or so. See the cloud, sun through the clouds, so it can't be that thick. Hopefully we are about to I'm going to punch through it. Cloud layer coming up. We're only about 3 degrees now, 2 degrees, so icing is an issue. I'm going to come down a couple more notches on the airspeed. Bring it up to 165. There's 9,000 feet. We have 4,000 feet to go. We're about to hit this cloud layer. Looks pretty awesome. We're going to come up, we're going to turn on the anti-ice. Get that that all up and going as we
Gentlemen,
punch
we have now
through.
passed 10,000 feet. You may now turn on your larger portable electronic devices. This is also a reminder to please smoke fast while you're seated and
Of
not
course, by
hungry.
larger
The galley
portable
or near the
electronic
lobby door.
devices, in this time frame, we're talking about a AM transistor radio. Starting to get into the bottom of the cloud layer. 165 on the climb. Still waiting for a change in Scott's altitude back there. Let me know he's up in the air. Do 2 notches forward on the airspeed, or on the airspeed, to get the airspeed up, to keep it up on 65 or so. Actually just keep shallowing out our climb rate. We are in climb power setting. And everything is looking very good. We might be in this cloud layer for a while. Not seeing anything yet on the wings, but we are below 0 on our outside air temperature. So switch the windshield over to ensure we don't get freezing. Feet to go. So we are going to be flying, as I mentioned, to the west of Frankfurt. Hopefully we'll be able to see that. Now for our descent, we're going to be starting 75 miles out from the airport, which is coincidentally right when we hit the LBU VOR. So as soon as we hit that, we're going to start down. That gives us our descent and our flat altitude at the bottom for slow down. Seem to be just edging the bottom of this cloud mass. Actually looking pretty good so far. I'll turn off the icing for now. Turn the cabin heater back on. Couple degrees below 0. We've got 500 feet to go. Start rolling forward on the trim angle. Flattening our climb, allow our speed to come up, and get ready to engage altitude hold. Feet to go. And there's 13,000 feet. There's the wild oscillation. Airspeeds come up. Let's go into the cruise checklist.
Set cruise power, please.
Setting cruise power.
Manifold pressure coming back. Engine RPM is coming back. Which is basically like shifting into a higher gear in your car.
Power is set.
Cruise checks are being done. Engines
Cruise
are
checks are
being
complete.
mixture is being trimmed out. We're down into 600 pounds per hour per engine, which is where they should be. Everything is good there, and everything is good up top. So we are now in cruise. And Scott is up. Very nice. So we're only 14 miles out from our next VOR.
Please look in your feedback for our list of complimentary and premium drinks. Premium drinks are available for a small charge. If you wish to make an additional purchase, please note that we only accept
And our
credit
next
cards.
VOR is the Reed VOR. Just north of the Rhine Valley where Frankfurt is. Yeah, we're kind of now onto the base of the clouds. So according to the weather, Friedrichshafen is now IFR conditions. So it's going to be an interesting arrival into there. My first true IFR in this airplane. But we just follow the same procedure as always, and we should be good. 8.5 miles to go. Frankfurt's off over in this direction. Mainz. I'm going to fly just to the east of Mainz, Wiesbaden. I believe Mainz is where Johannes Gutenberg set up his first printing press. Or started an information revolution, similar to how the internet has done in the 20th century. We'll get the next VOR tracking and everything, and then we will go out and take a look. So there's 5 miles past. We'll go over to gyro pilot mode, up to the radios. I'm going to switch over to 112.1. We're going to dial in the next one, which is 109.2. We're also going to have the 401 on the NDB. And then we will come back over, and the frequency, or the radial for this one is 148. Not sure why it's showing us that far off. Oh, 112.2, my mistake. There we go. Now it's pointing the correct way, and we'll go into localizer mode. Just kind of flew past it, so we'll come back around. Picking up a different VOR. So you always have to double check these things to make sure you got them right. Oh, absolutely. There's that massive cloud that we came up under. Pretty intense looking wall of cloud. If we look forward, you can see there's a low layer there. I think that we're going to be heading over that, so it could be interesting. When you drive on the interstates and the Autobahn, you realize, you know, they were designed for the use of aircraft landing on them as well. In fact, the interstate system in America was the inspiration of President Eisenhower, who, when he was the general in charge of the Allied operations in Germany in the Second World War, toured around and saw the autobahns. You know, great idea. Traffic movement for civilians in peacetime and traffic movement for the military in wartime. And that's why they have those long stretches in places with nothing around so that you can land aircraft. In fact, you see some countries do that. I've watched a video of, I think, Sweden do it, where they're landing their jets on the highway. They shut down roads outside of villages and land the fighters on them for practice. It's pretty impressive to see. And just a reminder, in a couple weeks, when our Ford's Flight series on Saturdays is over, we're going to be following that with our Pan American Airlines around the world trip, broken down into multiple legs, obviously. But we're going to fly the DC-6 around the world. And we're going to take it from Chicago and head eastbound to Chicago. And I figure we're probably saving almost over 20 hours of flight time by going eastbound instead of westbound, given the prevailing winds, from some of the calculations I was doing. But we'll be visiting Europe, the Middle East, Asia, Pacific Islands, North America. Should be a fun, interesting series of flights. There's the Frankfurt Airport, city of Frankfurt. Been to the airport a few times. Haven't been to the city other than to pick up a rental car and drive out of there. So again, we're in the industrial heartland here. Town of Mainz, the one I was talking about, is right here, other side of the Rhine River. I believe that's the Rhine. Might be the Main. No, this is the Main River here. The Rhine River heading south, and it's actually going to go down, loop around, and then it comes back and empties into that lake we're going to be landing by. And we're actually not going to be that far, if I take a look at the map, from the Swiss border. We're heading right down to the, not quite the southernmost point in Germany, but down near the southern border anyway. In fact, the lake we're landing by is split by the border between Germany and France, and for part of the approach we'll be flying over, or Germany and France, Germany and Switzerland, and for part of the approach we'll be flying over Switzerland itself. So, it'll be pretty interesting. 11 miles to go. Flight is progressing nicely. Quite a few people around in multiplayer at the moment. Now, I'm not seeing Scott back there. Scott, hopefully you're still going, given all the trouble you had trying to get in. Yeah, that might have been the video I saw with the Vigan. It's something to do on a fairly reliable schedule, a couple times a year. So I'm sure there's more than one video out there. Alright, so we're 6 miles out. So we're going to come in here, we're going to enter in the 9.2, which is the Blueberg VOR. First thing we're going to do, however, is go back into gyropilot mode. We'll put in that VOR. The next one we're going to put in after that is the Friedrichshafen VOR 112.6. That's the airport VOR. Although we're going to be angling to the west of it to pick up the ILS. But that'll give us the reference. Now we'll come down here, we'll set in the frequency, or the course that we're going to want, which is 142 degrees. You can see we're not picking it up yet. It is it's supposed to be a high power VOR. 109.2, so we're just going to head off in that direction. We're going to make a slight course correction to 142 degrees. It's 150. There she goes. Now heading towards it, so we'll go on to the localizer. Let the localizer pick it up. We'll actually do a little bit of adjustment, tuning, like that. And we'll just fly that heading in. Clicked over around 60 miles, so 57.5 miles out. And that's where we're going to start our descent. And that brings us just northeast of Stuttgart. There we go. Tuning down to that radio. Over here is the town of Mannheim. I believe there's a huge U.S. Air Force base there. No, that's right, that's Ramstein. I don't know Mannheim. I know something. But just past Mannheim is the town of Heidelberg, down around here. And Heidelberg is pretty awesome because it was never really bombed during the war. So it's mostly intact from the 1700s with all the architecture. So if you're looking for what German towns looked like 300 or 400 years ago, it is an awesome place to go to be able to see what's happening, to see what you see there in regards to architecture. Definitely a place on my bucket list to spend a few days in and wander around. Love the old buildings and architecture. Starting to come up to that cloud layer. Just checking out what we have here. Looking pretty good. Oh, looks like Scott's popped back up again. Good. Thought we lost you there. Glad to see that you're still going. 30 miles from Reed. Okay. So So you're a bit behind me, but not too bad. At least you'll be able to see what you're in for the landing if it truly is via IFR at the airport. So Talia, you have to post your ATC schedule up in the Discord so that we can come and provide you with some traffic next time you're up and controlling. What airports are you going to be looking at doing? Forty miles, 41 miles out. We're looking good. Bit of a view out of the wing. Oop, that's not the one I want. The wing view here. Look down. It's the town of Lehman we're going past. So in order to get ready for some of the JU-52 flights I'm going to be doing, I took out the original 1938 JU-52 with the actual original controls. Took a little bit to get used to the layout. There's a few things that are missing. It seems like the original JU-52 had fixed pitch props, so there's no propeller controls. And unlike the retrofitted one, which is running Pratt & Whitney engines, and I think they're Pratt & Whitney 1340s, 600 horsepower engines. But it was interesting with the layout and trying to be able to do everything because the everything's listed in German and the translations don't quite match up. I think oil cooler was injection cooler, or the carb heat was like intake heat or something, but okay, Oshawa, London, Sault Ste. Marie, Kitchener. Okay, well that's kind of the Southern Ontario small airports. Although London's a fair size, you get some commercial traffic in there. Oshawa would be a lot of GA. Sault Ste. Marie, not sure. Kitchener, a lot of smaller traffic, but you could get some A320s, 37s coming into London. Business jets, stuff like that. Along with GA, I've flown in there a few times. Same with Kitchener and Oshawa. I haven't been to Sault Ste. Marie. Can't remember, but I think London is also an international airport, isn't it? You get flights up from the States. So it's a port of entry. Alright, 25 miles to go. And then we'll be starting our descent. Yeah, I've never done an airline into London, but I've definitely done you know, small GA aircraft into London. In fact, we went there on my training. That was my destination on my first cross-country flight with my instructor. We're going to leave the lights on in the cockpit because I think we're going to be dipping below this cloud layer. So we're 20 miles out from where we're going to start our descent. So let's take a look at the latest weather. Alright, there's no update from the last time I looked at it. So you can see we're talking vertical visibility. Runway is 04, where winds are 04 at 4. We're going to be landing on 06, so that's pretty good. Barrow is 1025, so we'll go down and set that in now. 1025. And we'll do Rogers. So we're all lined up. Alright. So what we got around us? We got an unknown, we got an A330-900, we got an Airbus Neo, Cessna 172, another Airbus. Another Airbus. So airspace isn't too bad. Well, there is a fair amount of traffic. Alright. So there is no teardrop approach here. So we don't fly over the VOR and then come in. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to pass to the northwest of the airport, crossing over the lake and heading down to the intercept point at Argev. Obviously we don't have a system that will take us in there, but we do have a 4,000 feet intercept. It's going to be interesting. We're going to go down to 7,500 feet on the descent. Because the MSA for the airport is 7,400 feet. I think that is largely in part due to mountains off to the east, southeast. So we'll watch as we go down. I'm not sure what the terrain is going to be like. West. We'll call it 5,000 feet to start with. Or 7,000 feet to start with, and then we'll judge our way down from there. It's 5,000 feet in the north end of the circle for the missed approach, so we'll see what happens. We'll have to monitor the descent. It is a fun airplane to fly at night, which we're going to be doing on the round the world trip. So. For the round the world trip, we are flying live weather, and we're going to be flying at the time the original flights would have flown. I do have all the departure times for all the airports, so it'll be in the descriptions of the videos when it goes up. But yeah, there's night flights, day flights, afternoon flights, evening flights, kind of all over the place. Alright, so we're 6 miles out. We'll do this one a little bit earlier. So we're going to go over to a gyro pilot mode. We'll come up to the radios. We're going to switch over to 112.6. And we're going to input the ILS frequency of 111.9. Standby. We're going to leave it also on the main, and we're going to put the Friedrichshafen in the standby at 112.6, and we're all 0.6, and we're all set there. So that's the ILS frequency, VOR, and the NDB for the one that we're heading to. So that should just give us a reference. It's not giving us anything right now. So, looks like that's not working. We're not picking up the VOR. The heading we're going to want is a 169, so we're going to head that way now. I'm going to turn to 169. Hopefully we'll pick it up soon. It does say it's a distance of 74.8 miles, so if it kicks in at about 60 miles, we should be good. That may be a line of sight issue. There's 160. We'll go to 170. And we'll straighten out. I think we're going to just go a little bit further over to 170. We'll go 180. We do want to have room to do our approach. Our altitude has crept up to 3,400 feet. There we go. So we'll lock that in. We're going to disconnect the hold, and we're going to start our descent. So we're going to go for that 1,000 foot per minute descent rate. Just keep notching it until we get there. There we go. So down we go. As per normal, airspeed is going to increase, and we're going to have to watch our descent rate. Increase of airspeed is not an issue for this. We'll do our descent checks at 10,000 feet. We're at 1,000 foot per minute downslope. There's Scott over there. That's the, what airfield that is. Linfelden, I believe. Probably the Stuttgart airfield, actually. Stuttgart's back over here. A little bit of cloud, but it's not looking too bad. And winds are very doable. 1,000 feet per minute, coming to 11,500. Aircraft is pressurizing. Or adjusting the way it should, depressurizing, repressurizing, I guess you would call it. It's a beautiful cloud today. Just make out the Alps on the horizon, some of the mountains starting to come into focus. Just monitoring our path over the ground. Kind of Rootligan's coming up, if anyone's tracking where we are. Still nothing on Nav 1 and nothing on Nav 2. looking good. There's 10,000 feet. So we'll do our descent checks, please.
26 inches, please.
Setting 26 inches.
Manifold pressure coming back to 26 inches.
26 inches set.
Descent checklist, please.
Altimeters and flight instruments cross-checked. Seatbelt signs on. On. Engine blowers low. Low.
We have begun our final
Descent
descent
checks are
to
complete.
your destination. Flight attendants will be passing through the cabin to collect any trash one final time. Please ensure tray tables are stowed and seats are in the full upright position. Please also store any carry-on items either in the seat back pocket or
I think we're going to go down to about 5,000 feet. Just to keep a little bit of height as we head in. Again, our platform altitude of 4,000. We should be good to lose that. Not seeing much in the way of hills that we're going to have to deal with. Nothing on the navigation yet. And just looking at the actual charts, there are... yeah, there's no radio beacons in the area that we can tune into, so that's fine. Pretty low-lying cloud out there. Did say there was some cloud down at 400 feet, so that would kind of what we're seeing here, this very low cloud. Looking good. 2,000 feet to go. We'll level up 5,000 for a bit. No problem, Pat. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in anyway. We'll catch you on the next one. And don't worry too much. There's been times I haven't even been able to make my own stream, so it happens. We're doing really good holding that 1,000 foot per minute descent. I'm going to turn a little bit over to 180 just to prevent us from getting too far out from the airport. There we go, 180. 6,000 feet coming up, and we're going to level for 5,000. And we'll start slowing down. Definitely see the mountains there in the distance. Like Scott's beginning his descent. Very nice. 500 feet. Start to roll back a little bit. Slowing down our descent rate. Lake Constance, that's what we're headed for. It's 500 feet per minute. 200 feet to go. Give it a couple more notches. Slow the descent rate. And altitude hold goes on. I hope they come out with an update to fix that. Very annoying. Alright, so we're now leveled out. Let's have the in-range checks, please, Fred.
Cooling turbine. Normal. Fuel booster pumps. On low. Fuel tank selectors. Mains on, crossfeed off. Hydraulic bypass valve. Down.
Looking good.
No smoking signs.
Speed slowly coming back. Down to 183. Fuel flows down to just over 400 pounds per hour. The engines are still leaned out. $180 knots. ILS just kicked in. No distance, but we have a direction. Still waiting for the airport VOR to come online. It's not doing it, so I'm wondering if it's a low power one. It's not marked like some of the others, so I'm thinking it may be. That's alright, we know where we're headed. Definitely see those mountains out there. We're going to leave the lights on for now. It's Mengen, little airport. Will be good. A little bit of lighting glitches. I think we're okay to turn the lighting off in the cockpit. There's the lake ahead. It goes all the way across this way. The airport's over here. So we're going to go down to 4,000 feet now. We'll take off the altitude hold. Get us going down about 500 feet per minute. Airspeed's going to come up, but we'll bleed it off again. It's not an issue. Fullendorf is the town coming up. We're going to cross over into Switzerland very briefly. 18 miles out from the airport now. Still nothing on that VOR. Is odd. It must be down. Actually, it's weird. I'm getting distance on VOR 1, which is the thing. And I'm getting direction on VFR or on the ILS, but not on the VFR. That's odd. Anyway, we're going to have to get ourselves down a little bit quicker. I know where we're going, so we're going to switch over to the ILS. It's now come alive. Oh, there's the VOR kicking in. It's very weird. We'll go for... Not even giving it to me there. I don't know what's going on. We do that. There we go. VOR's gone dead, but it's giving me a distance to it, and there's the ILS has come in. Coming up for 4,000 feet. It's leveling off. It wants to do the whole bouncy. There's Scott over there, 5,000 feet. So we're going to fly here across the lake, pick up the ILS on the other side, and we're going to go back in. The airport's over here. Nice and simple. .300 is good. Let's see, we're above the glide slope. So the missed approach path is just on the other side of this hill, comes along this way, and then circles around for another attempt. So we're angling down from the north for the intercept. I am going to swing a little bit over. Got a good angle on the intercept. It's about there. The airport might be sitting under that cloud layer there, which is why they were saying they were IFR. So it's a 60-degree runway. We're going to want to be flying at about 90 degrees for the intercept. Speed's coming down. So I think it is time for the before landing checklist. Roger, please.
Flaps 20. Setting flaps 20.
Flaps 20. Speed starting to come down.
20 flaps set.
Masters Ridge, please.
Auto ridge. Mixture set.
Gear up and down, please.
Gear up and down.
Here goes the gear. Pat, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens, definitely.
Gear down and locked.
3 lanes. Props.
2400
So we're going to
RPM.
about a 130 approach and a landing speed of about 100.
2400 RPM set.
Cow flaps.
Plus 3 degrees. Cal flaps set.
ADI.
ADI off. ADI is off.
Turn to about a 180 heading.
Speed good. Extending lights. Lights extended and on.
Carbine.
Carbine cold. Set cold. Before landing checks complete.
Alright, 180 heading. We're across the lake. We're now in Swiss airspace. Everything is good. We're below the glide slope, which means we're going to intercept it from below, which is what we want. We are definitely to the left of the ILS. Speed is at 140. I'm going to bring the BEMP back a little bit. We'll get that speed start edging downwards. We'll go to about 120 on all four engines. And we're now going to initiate a turn to 90 degrees. The intercept. Degrees coming up. Right there. You can see the arrow indicating the airport's off in this direction. We are coming in on an angle to intercept. Glide slope's coming in, so we're going to take off the autopilot hold and we are going to approach mode. Speed's down at 120, it's fine. As soon as we start down on the glide slope, we're going to go to flaps 40. I can see the lights at the runway. The airport is kind of under that cloud. Turning onto the localizer. Nose is going down. Flaps down to 40 degrees. Here's flaps 30. Flaps 40. We're angling around now. Slowly coming onto the localizer. We are on the glide slope and descending. Speed is 125. Airport altitude 1,368 feet. So at roughly 1,900 feet, we are going to take over from the auto gyro. As long as we're through that cloud. All four engines are at about 120. .5 miles out. There's Scott there, 4,000 feet. The airport in sight. 2,000 feet above the ground. Speed is 127, flaps 40. 120 VMEP. Landing lights are on, cabin's been notified, cabin lights are on, gears down 3 green. Auto gyro disconnected, props fully forward. We have landing clearance. We're good to land. Feet to autopilot disconnect. Flaps full. Autopilot disconnected. Power back. 120. Middle marker. 100 knots. Nose wheel down. Reverse not required. Go down for Bravo. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it. We're going to be parking down at this end anyway, so we might as well run down to the end. It's going to be the second one that we're going to take. Came in a little short at the end there. I think we touched down slightly before the threshold, but
ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination.
Turned
the
out
local
well.
time is 11:24 a.m. and it's currently about 5 degrees Celsius. You can now use your mobile devices. Please
And
remain
we are
seated
clear.
until the aircraft has come to
After
a
landing,
stop
please.
and the seatbelt sign is turned off. Remember to use caution. If this is your final destination, we thank you for flying with us. If you're making a connection, we encourage you to check your itinerary.
ah, thanks, Start. There we go. Parking brake is set. And we can do the parking checklist and shutdown procedures.
Parking brake is set. Cut entrance.
As they shut down, we'll look out here, and the looks like we've got some cloud coming in. Yeah, it is a bit of a doodle here, isn't it? There we go. They're doing all the final switches. Wheel chocks are in place. Go away.
Complete, airplane secured.
Airplane is secured. Stairs are coming up. There's the exit. Oh, and we'll get the cabin stairs down. There they go. Very nice. Oh, that's going to do it for today's stream and flight. We are now in southern Germany. Our next flight from here will take us up to the north end. And the week after that, we head back home to where it all started. We're going to be flying back over to London. So hope you can join us again. And don't forget, on Wednesday, we carry on with the Spitfire tour. We'll be doing a flyover of one airport, attending an air show at another, and then starting our trip to the north for the third airport. So we hope to see you then. Thank you very much for dropping by and watching. And for those that are watching on Twitch or watching the replays on Twitch, welcome. Don't forget to come and join the Discord. And I'm just going to fire it up in Twitch, the link in Twitch, and we'll make sure it goes up in YouTube as well. There we go. And we will see you guys on the next one. And I'm going to sit here and watch Scott come in and do his landing. But until then, bye for now.